استقبال نمایندگان پارلمان اروپا از تعیین سفیر رویت توسط کاترین اشتون به عنوان سفیر ویژه اتحادیه اروپا برای اشرف و فراخوان به حفاظت بین المللی از اشرف.
The fact that Mrs. Ashton appointed a special envoy or advisor, particularly for Camp Ashraf, is a good news. I hope that we will be able to meet the gentleman in a very short time, and that he will really take care of this very serious humanitarian and human rights problem, and that he will not be that much influenced by propaganda of Iranian regime. And of course we have to work also on a better engagement of international community, including United Nations and also other international organizations, to take care about this problem and to pay attention to that, because it is a very serious thing. Well, I think that any artificial deadlines are, in my feeling, dangerous, because they are pushing people, they are putting people under pressure, and there's a lot of people in the European Parliament, including its Vice President, Mr. Vidal Quadras, who pay the attention for many, many years to this, and who are trying to bring attention of international communities to this problem. So I hope that any deadlines that are called by anyone, including Iraqi government, will not complicate the situation in the camp. Well, there's a very long time known fact that the Iranian government, the Iranian regime, is trying to portray people in Camp Ashraf as terrorists, which of course is completely untrue, because the PMOI and like-minded organizations were delisted by the European Union from any such blacklist, and I hope they will be very soon delisted also by the United States. So it is just a opposition, a democratic opposition against undemocratic regime, and they should be treated like that.
My name is Paul Murphy. I'm a member of the European Parliament representing Dublin in Ireland. I'm a member of the Socialist Party in Ireland, part of the Committee for Workers International, and part of the European United Left Group in the European Parliament. An important message that I want to give is an absolute condemnation of the brutal attacks that have taken place by Iraqi forces on people in Camp Ashraf, with many people being massacred, many more people being injured. And of course, it's not simply the attacks that have to be condemned, but also the ongoing, in reality, psychological torture against the people in Camp Ashraf, with the blaring sound designed to demoralise people, make people be unable to sleep, etc. That is completely inhuman behaviour that's taking place. And a message that I think is important is that I, many other members of the European Parliament, but in particular trade union activists, workers activists, anti-war activists across the world, are watching the situation carefully and will not tolerate further incursions by the Iraqi government. So obviously I support the demand that the right of people of Camp Ashraf, I mean, they should have the right to exist in Iraq for as long as they want, but also other European countries should be willing to take refugees from Camp Ashraf. And I would call for there should be a question of international observers, representatives of human rights organisations, trade unions, etc., to go to Camp Ashraf to see what the situation is, and to give evidence potentially to the world of the situation of what's happening. Dictatorships in the Middle East, and actually right around the world, are now shaking in fear about the power of ordinary people. Working people, young people, mobilised together, were able to get rid of Mubarak and Ben Ali, hated dictators, and begin a process of revolution in those countries. And they are afraid of the people in Camp Ashraf, but also the people within Iran itself. They're afraid of the power of ordinary people if mobilised. Existing opposition that has continued to exist just outside of the border of Iran, and has been a certain symbol to people about the possibility to resist. And so I think that definitely is the context. And to be honest, I think that they're correct to be afraid, because people have shown that even in conditions of horrific repression, like you have in Iran, that people still have a massive power if organised together and can actually achieve the overthrow of dictatorships.
I'm Steve Hughes, the first Vice President of the Socialist and Democratic Group inside the European Parliament. I've been a long associated friend of the PMOI, going back 20 years and more now, and I've enjoyed the work with the PMOI a great deal over the years. Very serious work, particularly around the issue of Camp Ashraf. I'm pleased that my good friend Cathy Ashton, the High Representative for Foreign Affairs for the European Union, has agreed to appoint a senior diplomat, a very experienced diplomat, Mr. Royt, to look after the residents of Camp Ashraf. He will be her special envoy there. I know he will be meeting with the Iraqi government very soon. He will take his job very seriously indeed. He brings years of experience to the job, and he will be our eyes and ears there, making sure that he's the tripwire. We know exactly when anything happens to the residents of Camp Ashraf. We will be absolutely vigilant, and if anything does happen, we will react absolutely immediately. I think it's important that Mr. de Royt as well uses his past association with the United Nations to try to make sure that we get the United Nations team established there to make sure that they observe as well and look after the safety of the residents of Camp Ashraf. But all the residents there can be absolutely assured not much happens without us knowing that it's happening, and we will react with all of our diplomatic and political means if Iraq tries to repeat the outrages of the past.